Huh? I was saying you probably get a better shot from over there.
You turning mine too.
Someone goes in the.
Were you saying for me to actually sit here and record it, or for me to like set it up some more?
Whichever way you think is best.
Well,
I mean, you know where it
this
looks
is gonna
good.
be in the way if I set it over here. So.
Oh well, then you can't do it that way. A different way.
You want to set the phone over here?
You wanna? Do you know what the thing is that like that I have the clamp?
No.
No, I go look for it right quick. I think I know.
Yeah, if you got the phone thing, you can set it on here. You ain't got to hold it. I know you put it on. You have to use it. Oh, well, you can put his phone right here. Let him know you can set his phone up.
Where you going?
Tell
If you got one of the next part,
no, we ain't got it. She gonna put her phone on. So he can just put his phone right here. Try to move it down.
maybe right there, on that table. You just move the
Hey, you can just put your phone right here. We got to hold it. You just, you can set it up here.
Okay. Man, you told me what to get. Yeah, man. I've been reading two groceries.
Hey, that's a tough book.
Hey, that's what I actually ended up doing yesterday. Like, man, I don't know what to do. I'm just sit my ass down and read.
Yeah, you put it up.
So how far you got into it so far?
Just how it all really kind of kicked off because he had, you know, he had them people and Queen Victoria, whatever, she didn't respond the way he liked. So, you know what I'm saying?
Put it on the hooks.
Yeah, I got that part.
What? Oh, put it on the hooks.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a big
You gotta turn the camera on.
Oh, the brightness? I don't know. Good?
You gotta get the interview.
That's good? It's just tilting. That's good.
I'm gonna put this back.
Oh, sure. All right, is some of them going live already?
Yeah.
Yeah, all of them.
All of them live.
YouTube live. Not the only one I
Stilo, did you start the live? Start. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you. All right, so all right, for sure. Appreciate it. Love you. All right, so history in the making, huh?
History in the making, man. Rewriting it.
Rewriting it. Bringing it forth. So for my live, Abe Ilo. It's my first live like this. Where I got, you know, the Yaju family in the house. Specifically my brother, Yaju Judah. What's up, brother? If you on my, social media, one of my handles is Yaju L. And that was based on the experience I had on one of the panels when I was personally really just coming around to your teaching and what you got going on, you know. And when I wanted to put it out there for me that I had experienced Yaju, I had an experience that made me believe that this man is the living word of God on earth, and that the teachings that he have couldn't come from anybody but the Most High. That's after years of going through many different houses of thought and theology and teaching, and you know, coming across a lot of so-called smart people, and you know, I've always been on a journey to seek truth. You know, because of a lot of actually because of a lot of pain. You know, hey. All of y'all background is picking up, so y'all gonna have to keep it down.
TV.
Yeah, they say.
I just went out there trying to find the big one. I think it's in my bag.
Yeah. Take two. So, which okay.
Ones like that, I like those questions.
All of them was real good, though. It's just some of them, you know.
You don't want to get, yeah.
Just one.
Yeah, right.
That was a real good question.
Okay. Yeah, so take two. Back to the live. Sorry about that, y'all. Had a little, you know, as I was explaining, I experienced Yaju and I took on Yaju L. But what I realized is that Yaju L is not my name, it's the name that I come forth representing as far as my people. You know, just like one of the understandings that we came to is that everybody think Adam is a person, not understanding that Adam is a people. You know, so being that an understanding, Yaju L, I felt like represented me, but it represented me in how I want to represent my people.
Correct.
So with that, you know, I appreciate you coming to Dallas, you know, and coming to, you know, my studio and doing a little podcast opener with me, and give a chance for the people that love me, that think I'm crazy or don't know what's going on with Abe, or, you know, just really is curious and on the fence or whatever the case may be, give them an opportunity to, first of all, see us interact, see that you're a real person, you know, and understand that the Christ is the anointed one. It's the head of the body. We, the people, we form the body. You have to have a head on the body, right? And so we try to put things back in order, and I wanted to use my platform definitely to help move that forward for our people. So I got some questions that I had wrote down that I wanted to ask, just to give you a chance to say out of your own mouth and in your own words what those things mean. That's cool? Okay, so the first question is, define God.
God is the highest thought known to mankind. It gives direction to mankind. So when God is manifest to mankind, it's a direction that mankind don't have. That's why when you deal with the acronym of God, it's giver of direction. And the only thing that gives the flesh direction will be the mind. The mind is in control of the flesh. That's why when you are in mind control, your body is being, you know, controlled. So God will be thought. And that's why God is also connected to the Holy Spirit. It's a set apart thought. Because remember, this is the highest form of direction. And that's what the invisible represents. So when you talk about God, you're talking about thought, and you're talking about a manifestation. And one thing the Bible lets us know is many thoughts, so it's many different gods. But there's one true God that we're supposed to serve, and that's the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Abraham represents the thought, which is the mind. Isaac represents the the flesh, and Jacob represents the soul. And that will be the manifestation of the highest thought, the mind, the body, and the soul.
So can you say that one more time? How did that go?
Abraham is the thought.
Abraham
Yeah, Abraham
the
is the thought.
Okay.
Abraham had to think to find God to get away from the idols that his father worshiped. Isaac was the sacrifice, the body, that it takes to walk in this new mind. Because remember, it's a set apart thought. So it's going to take a sacrifice, it's going to take a thought. Then you're going to have to do Jacob's will, which is the work. Jacob had to work for 14 years. So all that is the true God that we all supposed to serve. And that's how we are reborn again.
So when you say reborn again, you mean as a people, as a spirit, as a world? Like what is reborn? What is being reborn again?
A new mind.
A new mind.
A new mind.
And what's the benefit to the new mind over the old mind?
It's like it brings you out of darkness. It's the old mind keep you with burdens on your shoulders. Being double-minded, can never make decisions, or just being lost, always seeking from something. So being born again gives you rest. It's like you can rest assured that your life is secure. I think that's the happiness that most people are seeking that money can't buy. And once you can rest assured that you are just doing right, you're living right, for those who have been lied to and misled, that rebirth gives you that rest. This is why they call it a glorious rest.
Yeah, I know. That's one of the things that I definitely experienced with many of the teachings is a certain amount of just stress off my shoulders about the confusion that comes from this person's opinion of that person. It just made sense, and it was like light. Yeah. So, does God have assistant spirits? With black people right now, especially like in the social media world, you have all these gurus that's popping up out of nowhere. They got stones and they got chimes and they got, the whole plethora of all the things that could be considered an alternative to what you bring forth, right? So my first question is there any usefulness for all of those talents? And with God being the Most High, does he have assistant spirits? Even though we're supposed to worship him, do we have experiences, say, with people think is my angel was watching over me and the person next to me died, but I lived, or, I know God is looking over me because I did something that nobody else in that moment could have done except if they was anointed by God. Like, how do we categorize these events and the other spirits that people think is, the mind and the rhythm and the vibration and the cause and effect? Like, what does all that fit into?
I think, to narrow things down and keep it simpler, we have to understand the priesthood. And all this information comes from a priesthood. But you have a new structure of priesthood that's coming in that creates order. Because right now we're out of order, leaning to our own thoughts when it comes to the highest thought. That's like, I always use the example of God's word is the sharpest thing known to man. So if God's word is the sharpest thing known to man, how can everybody have the sharpest thing? These are things we have to, and the order will take this to go. Right now we out of order. Because we say, I'm the sharpest, I'm the sharpest, I'm the sharpest, I'm the sharpest. And that don't create no order, that create confusion. Because the people that's humble themselves and the people that's meek, they're not saying they're the sharpest. So they're actually looking for the sharpest, but you might give them a dull knife. And sometimes you use a dull knife, you cut yourself. So the information is really dulled out when it comes to all the information. So now you have, again, a priesthood order that's coming in to remove you leaning to your own thoughts. You bringing your own experiences in. Because this is bigger than your personal experience. Again, we're talking about the God of the universe. So we got to have a direction that can give to babies, to grown folks, teenagers. Everybody can accept this direction. It's not a direction that just for people who go to buildings and read books. So the real God complex, again, that's why it's a manifestation. And this manifestation establishes an order. And the order that the Bible talks about is the order of Melchizedek. And if anybody familiar with scriptures, it talks about the priesthood of Aaron being removed and the order coming back in to get away all the thoughts, all the personal experiences that we might want to lean to and put it on God. And that's the sin that's being also taken away from the world. A lot of people are offering the bread of God. That's the sin. That's transgression of the law. When you choose to offer the bread of God, you have to be in order. And if you're not in order, you transgressing the law. And that's the sin that's in the world, and that's the sin that I actually come to take away.
So when you say bread, you basically saying the various teachings that I was talking about. That's in essence for y'all who don't really get that's the bread. That's what it means by bread. That does that also reference when he's talking about manna from the sky?
Correct.
Okay, so it's not physical bread. It's information that's misleading you, or at least distracting you or taking you away from the Melchizedek. Melchizedek order, which is, what is the order?
God, Christ, man, woman, child.
Okay. And what do you fit on that order?
Christ.
You're Christ.
That's correct.
So
that's why you have a lot of people skip Christ and go to God. That's out of order.
No, or they'll say, so you God.
Correct.
So you God?
No.
You sure?
I'm positive.
Okay, because it's an order, right?
It's an order.
And in the order, who come first?
God.
Okay. So, and what was God? We said God was the giver of direction, right? Oh, okay. Okay, for sure. So, well, are there many gods? We deal with that. Can a white person be a god or a devil, actually?
Well, anybody can be a devil because the deception can go in anybody, just as truth can go in anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So when you talk about the devil, you're speaking of deception that's in man and woman.
Right.
No matter if you blue, black, whatever. And you can even look at that as preachers. You have white preachers, you got black preachers, you got Chinese preachers. But at the same time, deception is in all of them, so they all play the role as a devil.
Yeah.
So
what would you say to the well, we'll get back to that. That's just really that. No, okay. So is the devil the opposite of God?
I can't say it's the opposite, but it's the opposer. It's the false image. It's the block. I wouldn't really say it's the opposite. Because some people look at things like, okay, God and devil is opposite, that God and devil is the same, but I would say the devil is more of the opposer of God. The devil is the one that's against God.
They said it's freezing good, man.
Oh, and
I'm all right.
well, but the YouTube good. I got it recorded on YouTube, so we can get it.
Yeah, it's probably just TikTok there.
What, the TikTok is freezing on my page?
On Yaju's.
Oh, Yaju. Okay. All right. Well, devil is always at work. So we had an interesting conversation today about customs. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of, I feel like personally, what holds Black people back are some of the customs that we hold on to. The thing that we, you ain't Black if you don't do such and such. I'm Black, I'll go off on your ass. Like things that we really hold on to as part of our nature that's not really a characteristic of value. It's just
then we try to identify people with it. And,
if you ain't on that, then you ain't real, or you ain't, and it's a lot of them, a lot of little quips and shit like that I feel like hurt us. So one of those things is the vain imagination. You go to any Yaju page on TikTok, any one of us, Yaju Fire, Yaju KJ, that you go to yours, Yaju Jewel, you go to mine. You're going to hear about the vain imagination. And this world is designed to entertain the imagination in so many different ways, from AI to social media to everything. So when you're battling the vain imagination of what people think Christ is, which is essentially this idea of a Christ coming out of the sky. Do people confuse not only how Christ is coming, but what your role or your job is when you do show up? Is there a lot of vain imagination about?
And see, this is why I always tell people they didn't change the Bible, they changed the teachings about how Christ is gonna come. Because when I really started reading what the prophets said, they never said Christ coming out the sky. The prophets never prophesied about nobody coming from the sky, from Moses all the way to Daniel. Is no prophecy and nowhere where Christ is cracking the sky from the prophetic vision. Now, what they have done, they have taken the New Testament and used metaphors and similes to, how would I say it, water down what they mean. You know, and I always say elementary and high school. When I say I'm in high school, you don't look up and go to high school.
Right.
It's just high school.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Because we weren't told to look up, so we understand it. So, you know, with the writings, we also bring forth and show people how writings and reading create vain imagination, because you are not witnessing with your eyes. You imagine it. Everything you read is an imagination. Until what? It's manifested to you. So all really the vain imaginations come from the writings. You know, and that's why we use the writing so much. Because if we can show people the things they imagine is not really in the book, it removes their vain imagination. And that's why the book is now a tool to remove the vain imaginations rather than to put you in the vain imagination.
Right.
You know, because of what we have.
Right.
You know, which is the Spirit of God that gave us this ability to do these things.
Right. Which is also why I try to explain to folks that you don't teach the Bible. Like, it's not about teaching the Bible at this point, it's about the manifestation. So the Bible at that point becomes a tool to show that the prophecy is being fulfilled, which is totally different from trying to teach you how to pray or what to say or what to do at, you know, on certain days.
What happened?
Yeah. So, and that's another thing too, as far as traditions. You know, I've heard you break down Christmas. I've heard you, you know, break down. Well, Christmas was a big one because we met around Christmas, so that was dope. If you haven't seen that particular breakdown, or if you want more information that I personally experienced when I was getting to know Yaju via social media, go to www.yajujudah.com, and it's a whole suite of videos. So with that question I had, what are some of the deepest vain imaginations that Black people hold on to about Christ?
Man, it's so many. Y'all might have to help me out on that one. Man, I think I think walking on water and cracking the sky and riding on clouds is one of the biggest. That's like one of the three biggest, because we've never seen a man walk on water.
Yeah.
And we know we've never seen a man come from the clouds.
Right.
So just by us accepting that and even just sitting back and thinking one day, like, hold up, is a man really gonna come from that sky?
Right.
You know, and hold on to it, dear, that's a real big vain imagination. You know, real big.
Yeah.
You know, because the thief in the night also contradict a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
If Christ coming like a thief in the night, how everybody gonna see him when he crack the cloud?
Right.
That'll take the thief of the night away.
Right.
You know, so
yeah, you just got to think a little bit.
Yeah.
So for the people that like to crack their Bible, what are some verses that they can go to that they're because of their misunderstanding of that verse, that vain imagination was planted so deep in their brain? Because as you're breaking it down, that those are some of the vain imaginations, like say the cloud. You know, I heard you read a verse about how it was a cloud of witnesses. And for me, that cleared up that understanding of a cloud of witnesses versus a cloud in the sky. What was, do you remember the?
That's Hebrews 12:1.
Hebrews 12:1. So, you know, getting because I know when I was young and we was reading the King James and it was saying thee and thou, like we didn't really know what that meant. So that makes sense. All right. Do you want to be Christ? Like, is this something that you always wanted, or you know, aspired to be when you was a shorty?
Anybody know me, man? I played sports most of really all my life until I graduated high school.
Yeah.
So Christ was never nowhere in my school. No, it's nothing. There's nowhere in my life where I ever wanted to be Christ or even imagined to be Christ. Because Christ is something that, how can we want to be something if Christ coming from the sky? So I was raised in a family where Christ coming from up there, so I'm gonna be Christ. How can I even think to be this? You know, especially I wasn't groomed in church or nothing like that. You know, I grew up in a Christian household, Baptist household, you know, regular, you know, Southern style church. But for us, me being Christ, no, that's never on the agenda. Never on the agenda. Nowhere, shape, or form.
And I guess back to the original question, do you want to be Christ?
Well, no, it's not something that I want to be. It's something that I had to accept and become. I became Christ because I made the sacrifice to walk with God. And see, that's what people don't really separate. It's not me really about reading the book and me seeing what Christ do and I start doing what Christ did. It didn't happen that way. It happened more of a, once I found out certain information and it came upon me, it made me want to sacrifice, or just made me want to set aside and say, well, God, what I have to do to fix this problem.
Yeah.
And that's when these things came upon me. When I started seeing the oppression of all people and just certain information came to me that made me want to make a sacrifice and walk with God or do whatever it takes to walk with God.
Right.
Then that position was given to me by God.
Right. So he selected you.
Correct.
Right. So in that particular vein, and going back to Mount Melchizedek, right? Mount Melchizedek is Christ, who right up under Christ?
Man.
Man. And so when you say man, are you talking about the male or are you talking about the human being?
Well, when you really deal with that, you're really talking of the priesthood. Because
Okay.
these are the people that's going to make the image for a man and woman.
Yeah.
It's like we follow stars.
Celebrities.
Yeah. But it's not a bad thing. Just imagine if all our celebrities are walking with God.
Right.
How our kids will be, how we'll be.
Right.
We'll be what? In the image of God also.
Right.
You know, and that's really what that art is really about. It's really for the priesthood because the children are the people that watch us. They're the people that look up to us. You see what I'm saying? Those are really considered the children. So when you deal with that order, you're dealing with the priesthood.
Okay. Can you break down the difference between, I guess, like following a celebrity, admiring somebody's talent, and then worship, and then idol worship? Like those ideas can get blurred, and you know, I could just tell from Yaju, you don't surround yourself with quote unquote followers, you know, or lame. So, you know, to the other leaders out there that actually know, you know, what this is, and that feel like I'm not a follower, so I can't just get behind this Melchizedek order because it's putting me under a nigga. Like, how do you what's the breakdown for that with a little bit of understanding?
And you gotta understand, sports. I played sports all my life. If I'm a wide receiver and they got a captain on the team, but I'm not the captain, just because I'm not the captain, that don't mean I can't go in this game and score touchdown.
Right.
But I'm not the captain, so I can't do what a captain do. I have to submit to the captain. But that don't mean my position and my role is diminished by the captain.
Right.
So Christ is the captain of God's priesthood.
Right.
It's not to make a man submit or, you know, take man power away from him. No, everybody got a position that they have to fill.
Yeah.
You know, and if people look at it that way, like I said, that's the meekness that's not really in you, you know, at the same time. And when you deal with idol worship, remember God is giver of direction. So what do these leaders and stars do? Don't they give us direction?
Mm-hmm.
Like Steve Harvey, he wrote a book. He told all women, think like a man, act like a woman.
Right.
So what was he doing? Giving direction to the women.
Right.
And men celebrities do this.
Yeah.
So that's the idol because they idols, they're not God.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so when you follow the real God, it's not idol worship because God is going to give you what you need to sustain life. It's like somebody giving you life, not giving you death, not taking from you. And that's why it's called idol worship.
Yeah.
But worship is really about who you listen to and who you follow. Whoever you listen to, whoever you follow, you worship.
Right.
That's why I say we worship rappers, because that's all we listen to.
Mm.
So, but we don't get on our knees and bow to them, but we listening to them. So what you doing? You worshiping them.
Yeah.
Words.
Right.
You know, so that's the true form of worship. And idol worship, but just when it's not God.
Yeah.
You know, so rappers, stars, or whatever we know, they have became our idol worship.
Yeah. And then that clears up a lot of the semantics on, you know, when conversations get started. I notice a lot of debaters and a lot of the people that like to argue, you know, with the panel, they wait for certain trigger words and then they run on a tangent with it instead of allowing the whole information to really come out. So, you know, that's another reason why I wanted to interview you to really get that space where your understanding can really flow down like it's supposed to. So you were saying as far as the men and the women up under Christ, that was you're starting to break that down as to, is the man over the woman? Like is the woman under the man, or are they So, okay, what's your stance on marriage, first of all? Because that's a tradition. That's kind
of like a really that's a messed up tradition.
You know what I mean?
It's actually a messed up tradition because if you're just a biblical person, just on Bible stuff, we are married to God. First of all, nobody is put here to give your all to the flesh. Now, once you make that agreement, that's the agreement between you and the flesh. But we are married in a blood covenant with God, with righteousness, with energy, whatever we want.
And you know what's great, not to cut you off, but that makes so much sense because I never understood why he say he was a jealous God, right? Like, but when you think about a marriage and somebody cheating on you, that's the only space, to me, really, where jealousy makes sense. So if he a jealous God and we married to God, we've taken the term married and applied it to gender. And we done really kind of shitted on the word. It made it what we wanted it to be. And so this, like, if you take a word as simple as married and screw it up, and then you start getting into the deepness of the words in the Bible, it's easy to see how it's a slippery slope.
Yeah, it's a form of idolizing.
Yeah, right. So we don't need to go no further than that, because, like, to me, shit that's understood don't need to really be explained. It kind of, if it still is going over your head, then it's supposed to go over your head.
But see, people are in adultery.
Yeah.
And see, the adultery is also connected to marriage. And
right.
That's where they get caught up at. But the adultery is us sleeping with the information that comes from man.
That's the slippery
slope. The daughters
slope.
of man.
Yeah.
You know, what they birth through their information.
Yeah.
Not what, sleeping with a woman.
For sure. Did I ask you, are you God? That was I asked that. That must have been an important question.
Because Christ is God.
Yeah.
But even the Bible tells you Christ is the image of the invisible. Christ is not invisible.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm so tired of people using the idea of me accepting you as Christ as a way to feel sorry for me. Like, oh, he must be going through something. He painting with oil paint these days, so he a little lucid. Like, it's none of those things. It's really that, like I said, in a lot of cases, trauma can take you one or two ways. It can take you very, very deep into your own vain imagination, or it can draw you close to the Most High. Right. So in my times of trauma, I always just pray, like, man, with everything I'm going through, just keep me in line with your will. Then I met you and you was like, oh, the Bible is God's will. It's like, damn. Then I was like, oh, I've been stuck on Genesis for 3 years. And then it was like, okay, so all the little things that, that has just put me at a pause. And I think that's what a lot of times what we need to do out there is like stop being so quick to judge or like draw to what we're comfortable with. Because this transition for me has been very much out of my comfort zone in certain manners. This part is easy. But when you start getting into the soul and the spirit and where you think you're going after you die and what grandmama and them at, when, it get real deep, you know what I mean? So, and I just recently lost my son he passed at 20, would have been 21 in November of last year, Yaju L, but, the process of having to sit there with him and actually watch and experience him pass away. And I didn't have custom to prepare him for the other side, so to speak, in that moment. Nobody was there with me but the Most High, with God. So, I found it in me to clean them up, and I wrapped them as close to what I thought was maybe like Muslim departure as I possibly could, just because I just wanted to do everything I could to make sure he was received properly on the other side type shit, right? So, for this year to kind of kick off, I did a number of things that was helping me to heal. And in my healing process, the Most High put you on my life. So it was deeper than just I was looking for some type of family or some type of religion or something to save me. Like my experience with Amari had already saved me. Like the family been strong coming into 2024.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? We wasn't down, and then I met Yaju when we was up. We came in up. Then when I met you, I'm like, it's really up. Like, so.
Rapture up, huh?
Yeah. Rapture up. Matter of fact, this is one of the books that I've been reading, you know, that you put me up on. In the first chapter, it's already riveting, you know, for you people that like to read. Okay, so I just got a couple of more questions. It's been going real good. You know, it's a great moment. I feel like we're making history, so I'm gonna keep it moving. All right. What did you mean when you said finding yourself in the Bible? Because you know, it's a lot of gurus. We talk about the Melchizedek, you the Christ, you know. But where did you find yourself in the Bible to let you know that it was time for you to activate and do, you know, what was prophesied for you to do?
I didn't find myself. The first thing I found was prophecy. The first thing I found in the Bible was prophecy. And the prophecy is for us to return back to God. So when I found that out, I was more on let's come together and, you know, let's go back home, let's find our roots, let's restore things. I was just on, that's the first thing I seen in the Bible. So by me going down that journey and ready to do, every time I got with a brother, they wasn't ready.
Right.
They was mouth ready, but none of their life backed up behind nothing they said. Because I had a few brothers I was talking to one time in a group. I was like, okay, man, you know, I got a house. You know, I got a little land. Come down with me.
Yeah.
They all made excuses. And that was the first experience of talking to people and realizing a lot of people just run their mouths. That was my first experience because I was just a normal brother that was coming out of the world, you know, trying to come back to God and do the will and do what it takes for us to receive what we need to receive and come out of this captivity.
Right.
So the Christ thing came when I really sat down and started studying the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
I started seeing what Christ's gonna be raised up. I started seeing when he can know, like, then I started being taken away from me coming from the sky. I said, well, he can't come from the sky if this happened.
Right.
You know, this is how I'm talking to God, or, you know, just going back and forth with things. Then it was one day it was like, you him? I said, no. I said, oh, no. I said, no, I'm not him. So that's how really the Christ was revealed. And the more and more I denied it, the more and more was revealed to me. Yeah. Every time I was like, no, bam, something will pop up.
Yeah.
You know, and no hanging around people. Like I said, even when I started this mission, the first thing I started doing was making sacrifices, and I started getting groups together. Yeah. You know, this way before I'm knowing Christ. Yeah. Studying with brothers, and I'm just seeing like, damn, you say you all this, but you're not dedicated. You know. And brothers looking at me, man. You know, man, you might be a prophet. Right. You know, just saying these things, and like I said, it was said to me. It was revealed to me, and
so people witnessed it of you before you had even accepted that being a reality at that point.
They didn't witness I was Christ. They witnessed I could be somebody that they wasn't. They witnessed a separation. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? They never told me I was Christ yet, but they witnessed the separation. Right. Because I one time I was chilling with some brother. They was like, man, come on, man, let's go out, man. We're gonna take you out, man. I'm like, nah, I'm good, bro. I'm good. You know, and it was just, you know, like I said, it was always a separation when it came to making certain moves when it was time to put our feet behind our mouth. Right. I never got it from my brothers.
And so when it comes to sacrifice for God and a person to come to know themselves, how do you know? Because and the only reason I'm bringing this up is because obviously it comes up a lot. A reason to combat you is, you know, you got tattoos, you from the world, you know, have appreciation for, you know, the cannabis. So this comes up as a unholy act or something that we shouldn't expect from Christ. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you're speaking of sacrifices that you know you made that other people didn't make. So what do you use as the measure of where to draw the line as far as, you know, what is Christ like? Because that's a term that I grew up on. That's always been in my heart. I want to be Christ like. Come to find out, I'm a lot like Christ. You know what I'm saying? But not in the ways that I necessarily expected. But at the same time, I have my lines in the sand, right? Mm-hmm. And so I've had my situations where I felt like I was set apart. I've even had my come to Jesus moments in the mirror where I was able to debunk that I wasn't Christ. So, you know, as special as I may have thought I was, I knew I wasn't that. Mm-hmm. Me spending time with you, I know you ain't crazy. So to actually get to a point where you like, that's what that is. And not only that, but I'm a stand on it. So one of the things you tell me is like, we don't have sin, you put that on the teachers for the misinformation, right? So in essence, to say that you're Christ, you're taking on that same level of responsibility, right? Because say for instance, I see Yaju, I believe that you're Christ. I put my faith in that through my works, through my how I move. You know, come here, be with me, talk to me. Let me get to know you, see you, feel your experience, right? But then in the back of your mind, you know, I got me one, I ain't even that, right? Because a lot of people out here is faking. So to me, that lands on that person that's tricking them more so than the person that's believing.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, that sin is held on the teacher.
Yes,
the one
that's what all of that was to come to that. Like you're literally taking on the responsibility of the people that say, I know that's Christ. You're taking on the responsibility to say, yes, I'm that.
Mm-hmm. Why Christ is a sin bearer.
Yeah.
That kind of ties into why.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. So, you know, I don't want people to look at this and think it's getting away from that aspect of it. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a correction that's being made and it's literal. It's not fictitious. It's not, you know, for fake. Okay. So we answered that question. Let's see. You already answered that question. Oh, that's a good one. So, are you, let me see, what was that? Are you African first or American?
Well, if you want to go with the wordplay, I'm really neither one.
Okay.
But if you want to, for conversation purpose and understanding, just like an African lion. You know, you take an African lion from Africa, you put it in America. It's still an African lion based off the understanding of trying to let people understand where you're coming from. Mm-hmm. You know, so I would definitely, to help people understand where I'm coming from, I will consider myself an African. You know, I know some people, if you caught up on knowledge, you would say African was created by, it's a name that was given to Africa, which is true. You know, we didn't call ourselves Africans, but just to, you know, make it political correct, or what we would say.
I politically correct.
Yeah, I will definitely call myself African American.
African American. So with us being African Americans, and you know, even with the book about the throne of David and Tudros and the Bible and prophecy, and you know, you're a regular guy coming out of America, African American, didn't even want to be Christ, up against all of these powers that be, want to help the world. Meanwhile, you got Ethiopians on my page telling me, take the flag down. You're not Ethiopian, get out of here. We don't want you. You know what we call you? All these old words. Do you know what that means? You know, and it hurts my motherfucking feelings. I ain't even gonna hold you because at the end of the day, you don't even know me. Be respectful and kind. How about that? But anyway, so with that being said, I know that people aren't usually respectful and kind to you, and I see it all the time. It's a lot of disrespect, a lot of people trying very hard to hurt you. How do you view your mission with putting the throne back on David with all of these odds up against us? Where you coming from and what you got to do?
I think the move is to help people understand why it's a passion of Christ and why Christ wore the crown of thorns. You know, although I'm the King of Kings, for me to sit on my throne is a crown of thorns. That's why I say some people say heavy is the head that wear the crown. So you know, that's just part of the mission. You know, but when you have the strength of God, you also able to lift that weight. And sometimes, you know, other people will look at it and be like, man, it's a lot of weight on that ball. But if you have the strength to lift it, it's not that heavy to you. But it is a lot of weight.
Yeah.
But it's not that heavy because I have the strength to lift it.
Yeah.
So you know, man, like I said, this is at the same time as an experience for me, but I'm trying to see what the best word I can use. I think that's the better way I say it. You know, it is a lot of weight, y'all, but I have the strength to lift it. And you know, it's not a burden, but at the same time, it's a crown of thorns. It's just what we got to do to complete the mission. And I think a lot of us, especially in our nature, where we coming from the gutter, we used to that hard work or that hard strive or standing up late to get the job done or doing these things. That's where we come from.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Because we in those conditions.
Yeah.
So at the same time, you know, like I say, it's weight, but You know, it ain't
You
nothing I
built
can't
for
do.
that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm glad you are, you know what I mean? Because again, you know, no matter how unique and special you are, if there's an order and you understand that there's an order, you know, the head being attached to the body is the best thing for everybody. And with that being said, like, what's a brief little, I guess, synopsis on what's going on with the online with the UCC one, you know, and the declaration?
Well, I think that's the other side of this mission that people really don't even get a chance to hear. That side of the political, the government, and what this really is for, rather than to argue with scriptures and religious doctrines. So last year, at the beginning of last year, they created a UCC one, which is a uniform code for all nations. Uniform is what, when you put on a uniform, somebody has given you instructions to put that uniform on. Like when you go to a job and you put a uniform on, that uniform is for to represent that business.
Right.
So this uniform code, which is a UCC, is something that's structured around everything under Christ. Of course, it say Jesus Christ. So all nations will be under Christ and God. And now this is a new CCC one, which is again a uniform code. So
And they
the
dropped it
world,
what year?
last year.
Last year.
Last year.
It's not old.
Yeah, they redid it, and the person that redid it retired. And all this is on the website. You can go look these things up. So everything is in debt to Christ and God. You know, but that's a uniform code that also fits prophecy, because what is prophecy? One nation under God.
Mm.
See, these are prophetic things that's happening behind the scenes that we don't know about, that's connected to this mission and what we're doing. And that's why, see, that's that thief in the night. A lot of stuff has already been taken back. But everybody not seeing it because what? It's nighttime, you sleep.
Mm-hmm.
You still in your bed, you under your covers. What? Living the American dream. So you haven't accepted the alarm clock. That's why we got trumpets. We here to wake our people up, ring the alarm, so you can come from under your covers, you know, in your king size bed that America has given you and made you comfortable, and wake up. To really see how this is really more nation building than trying to put somebody in a religious box to make them, you know, give you time or resources, whatever they have to give you, because that's all churches do. You know, they tell you this feel good mission and you come give what you have, but you don't get nothing in return. You know, and that's not what this really is. So all this is connected to uniform codes, and we also have a declaration. So we have judgment on the world. We have these things in black and white to show the separation of this movement. You know, you can't find no other movement of God that have a declaration, you know, that have a petition to judge the Roman Catholic Church. You know, so these things we show you, we are judging the world. We showing you we are the saints that's doing the will. That's what's written down in the scriptures, and that's to judge the world. It wasn't to stand behind a book and teach somebody what you think you know. So when you talk about this declaration, these things have been declared, and actually right now they are under default judgment. You know, but our people don't know they're under default judgment.
What does that mean?
That means something has been declared and you didn't refute it, so it stands.
Right.
So Christ have declared he's on earth. Nobody refuted it, so it stands. But our people don't know this.
So you're saying a declaration that you have on the website is saying that Christ is on earth. Separate from that, but on the same website, they can see the UCC where these countries have prepared. Correct. You didn't prepare that, but they prepared it, ready or preparing for Christ to come back on earth, that they would be under. And this represents the one nation under God, but they got us thinking it's the Illuminati and cryptocurrency is that's the one nation that we're gonna be under. So it's always this kind of like send off.
Oh yeah.
You know, something to make you not want one nation under God, because that's Illuminati. When at the end of the day, you know, therein lies the confusion. So, how will you help us, the people in America, by you being placed on the throne of David? How would that help us?
I would have jurisdiction to create people in better seats. Like right now, we are struggling in America as all people because of our politicians. They have the money and they have the resources to do whatever they want. But they choose to keep us in the struggle and in a box. because of really because of greed. We could just keep it simple, just because of greed. So I would have the jurisdiction and power to remove these things and put better people in office. It's almost like you on a job, but the managing system is messed up. So what? The people suffer who go to the job.
Right.
So if you change the managing system,
Yeah.
the job could be better.
Analogy. Yeah.
You know, and that's really all that's happening right now. So the throne of David gives us jurisdiction because the throne of David is for the Negroes. But when you look at Negroes all over the world, how they mistreated, because there's nobody representing them.
Right.
When you go to the United Nations, nobody representing Negroes.
Well, another thing too, another reason why nobody fuck with us and why we don't fuck with each other, don't trust each other. Like these are some of these like cultural things that you hear repeated. And so it makes it so before you even get a chance to test the waters. You know, I can't trust no nigga. Like, but
yeah,
this is us saying it, right? So my question is, why does it seem like black people on every continent can't get past our disagreement about things? Like every other culture disagrees, has disagreements, even have civil wars or whatever, but they have some code of conduct that allows them to be able to come back and be diplomatic about how they resolve their disagreements. Why is ours always so emotional and just finite? Like we got all these lines in the sands, and the next thing you know, we in a box.
Victoria's Secret has a lot to do with what we're talking about, y'all. That's you know, the things that happen to black people and why they happen to black people is like no other race. You know, we gotta understand, like no other race has been systematic, picked on, and traumatized. They have also destroyed other races, but picked on.
Yeah.
See, we've been picked on, and that's where it was different. And then you also destroyed a lot of our leaders.
Yeah.
You know, if we looked up to things, man, and you start taking us away from lands and taking us as kids, and you know, destroying our color, destroying our soul, that's just in us, and that's that curse that has been lifted, and it only comes through this.
Yeah. Through
the love, because even to walk this journey as Christ, as a witness who have made a sacrifice, you have to have some kind of love in you. You see what I'm saying? Because we could easily say, man, just forget this, man, go back making money and living like everybody else.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
That's
but
the
carry,
easy thing.
yeah, that's the easy thing. But to carry these burdens, you're gonna have to do it out of love. You know, or you would step away. You know, but if you truly love your people, you're willing to be unalive for them. You know, you're just willing to do what it takes so they can be just like your kids.
Yeah.
And I think DMX said that one time, how he said he'll always be an artist because he loves his fans as his kids.
Right. That's deep.
So you can't come out here and just throw a line to your people and doing that because that you don't have that love in you. I think that's what this mission is also bringing back. The love that we need to find a way to agree rather than to always disagree.
Yeah.
You know,
that's why I love that you use BrotherMan.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And for anybody that know you ever hear me refer to Yaju as BrotherMan, that was the title that was given to me directly from Yaju. I said, so a couple of questions I had asked when I first met you. One was about faith. You know, so since you're here, we ain't gotta have faith no more, huh? I had to love. What was the response?
Well, you're gonna have faith, but you have faith now because you heard.
Yeah.
You didn't have faith. You had doubts. You had questions. Mm-hmm. You had everything but faith. Now that you heard, now you have the faith.
Right.
Because faith comes by
hearing. And hearing by the word of God.
By the word of God.
And the word of God comes in the flesh.
Correct.
Okay. I got like a few little subjects, just want to know your thought on it. Once the kingdom is restored, you know, again, people, you know, our minds will be restored. But for right now, the people that's kind of in today, you know, you go to church on Easter and you go to church on Sunday, and the cooking and the gathering and all the feel good parts of those traditions that they don't want to lose, but might be willing to let go. Because I know with me, I love Christmas. I grew up loving Christmas. That was one of the best times. It's around my birthday. Like it's, you know, so I love Christmas. But when I heard that it had nefarious shit attached to it, pagan this and this and that, to me, that's a worthy sacrifice. Because it's a real sacrifice. It's something I actually love. I'm not getting rid of something that I kind of really don't give a fuck about anyway. That like, it's Christmas, right? So what are some of your ideas about activities, you know, after wartime, as far as like religion and sports and, you know, like the first thing we did when we met was play ping pong, but recreation, like, you know, the time when we actually just enjoying each other. What are your ideas for that part of society once things change?
Well, my idea is just really bringing back neighborhoods and you know, outdoor activities in the neighborhood, in the community, where you don't have to get in your car and drive. You see what I'm saying? I think that's what we missing. We missing, like, every time you got to go somewhere to have fun.
Yeah.
You know, fun could be at your front door, because, you know, when you can wake up and be looking for something to do as a child, and that's how I got that. That's mine, and I'm speaking from my experience of how I grew up. I grew up playing in the neighborhood. I grew up having friends waiting on me outside.
Absolutely.
You know, like, I couldn't wait to get up and go outside. We couldn't even eat breakfast. We tried to get outside so fast. You know,
Right.
and I think that's better for kids, man, at this time, to build that bond with people who live around you.
Yeah.
To bring back the neighborhood, I know what your child doing. I can watch your child. You know, if you got this going, your child can stay with me. It's no problems. Now that's gone because, like I said, there ain't no more neighborhoods.
Right.
So I just think we need to bring neighborhoods back. You know, bring neighborhoods back. You know, and I think, you know, we caught up on material things and just working. Our life consists around materials and working. Materials and working, materials and working. Ain't no life in that.
No.
There's no life in that. So,
And then
it's slowing
technology,
everything down, yeah.
what do you think of, what's your ideas on, you know, are we using technology correctly?
oh no, we definitely not using it correctly, because there's no order. Everything has to have some kind of order and structure in it for it to be,
Yeah.
because anything can get out of hand, like food good for you.
Yeah.
But if you ain't got no order and they just eating all day, food became bad.
Yeah, exactly.
So everything has
Too
to
much
have,
anything ain't good for you.
everything has to have a structure and order.
Right.
And when it comes to that, there's no structure and order.
Yeah.
We give it to our kids because we want to do something else.
Right.
You know, they just hours and hours just on the internet. No.
Yeah. They go back to the analogy you used with the wide receiver that make all the touchdowns. Like, it's a lot of our people now are buying back communities. Mike Epps is one of them. He went back and buying up the neighborhood he grew up in, building houses. I done heard a few other brothers that's got money, you know, doing the same thing. So as you can see, we're not devils. We're not devil worshipers. We're not evil. You know, we want communities with our people flourishing and being able to get back to some of the things that really kind of made us the moral compass for the world. It was one point in time where, you know, certain things, when you said black people don't smoke no cigarettes. Like, that used to be a thing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Not to say that whatever you do is your thing now, but I'm just saying we used to some degree, Big Mama was the priest. You know, and I think what a lot of people was missing is that this role that you're taking on to say you will be able to put things in order, you really would just be replacing the Pope.
Correct.
Because technically the Pope is the one who run everything now through the Vatican, and how we have to, you know, pay ransom back to the Queen. I don't know all of the deep technicalities, but at the end of the day, he's the moral compass of this chaos that we see going on in the world right now. And that's what that in the literal sense is what the UCC and what the Declaration, those things will be correcting. So I just wanted to say that part. And you know what I'm saying? As far as the cards go, we done ran through all them bitches, but this was real dope,
Well,
man.
I have a question.
Sure.
Yeah, is the audience of God, is the order of God the omnipresence of God? Is that what could that be correlated with the things that are in order that need to be in order? Is that the omnipresence of God?
Well, the omnipresence is the one who's in the omnipresence is more like there's no lie without the truth. So God is in everything. No matter what you speak, God is right there in it.
Correct.
And that's what a lie is, no lie without the truth. That would more represent the omnipresence.
Okay.
You know, one would be an order.
So then the order would be just the order of God. That's the direction.
Yeah, that's the direction. That's
Correct.
coming from, you know,
Absolutely.
Christ. Yeah, that's just the order. And like I said, that order creates, y'all, something that we all want. If you just a righteous man or woman, the order creates everything that we want.
Yeah.
Peace, love, happiness, no more lies. That's all it does.
Black owned,
Yeah,
this and
like,
that football team.
It ain't really hurt
You
nobody.
know, real black networks, real, like, you know, you get to watch the Passion of Christ with the right,
Right.
but not to make it racist, but at the same time, it's racist. It's we have to, as a people, and that's one of the things that, like I told you before, I feel like me being so dedicated to being in line with the will of God is because I knew a part of that was a promise. And the promise was a certain fulfillment, you know what I'm saying? And you represented that fulfillment and what you're bringing to the table and what you're saying further solidifies my stance on what you're doing, you know. And again, you know, I represent Yaju L, meaning that all of the people that are ignorant to these things, but really was seeking the truth and doing what they thought was the best in the meantime. So I appreciate you coming to my home, my studio, you know, spending some time with me out here in Dallas. It's the coldest it's ever been in Dallas, y'all. The coldest. It ain't gonna never be this cold again, trust me. You know, but I love you, brother. I love y'all, you know, Yaju. And as far as the people watching me, anything else you want to add or bring to the table, you know, you got the flow, brother.
I just ask the people, y'all, keep y'all ears open and really pay attention to the message that's being given. It's way bigger than the narrow gate that people try to put as Christ. Again, this is for us. This is for us, by us. You know, I'm not taking nothing for FUBU, but it's the real FUBU. It's for us. This is by us. And this, again, this is what this mission is about. It's about establishing us back in the seats that we need to be in. One thing about us as so-called black people, we have flavor. So we have the voice to heal the world. We have the skills to heal the world. All these things we have. So this is really about healing the world. This is not about this shitting on other races because we black. No, it's about playing our roles, which is the true mother and fathers. And this is seen through creation. The eagle don't let the crow teach it how high to fly. The eagle set the standard. You know, and we just have to go back to set the standard as so-called melanated black people, whatever you call them. And this is what this do. This is going to help us set the standard. Because that's what we're here to do. As long as we accept the standard, we'll be forever cursed. But until we set the standard, that's how we remove the curse. And that's what we're here to do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No doubt. That's
Real
what's up.
trendsetters.
Yeah. Yo, so be righteous for righteousness' sake in the meantime. You know what I'm saying? Once again, brother.
All right. I want to thank my brother for inviting me, man. Like I said, another principal brother. And this is what it takes, y'all. Like I say, y'all able to see how we move outside of just talking on TikTok. These are things that's being done in real life. We are really in Dallas. We're really inside this man's house, and he really reached out to us. And like I said, y'all, this is a real movement, and this is how it starts. This is how it begins.
Yeah.
Peace, peace.
Peace and blessings.
Peace, y'all.
Peace, y'all.
Cappy. That's right, y'all.
Yeah.
See it live. Hope you guys
You know how
really
to turn off the light.
ate really good. And peace.
Oh, okay.
Much love.